Welcome back to another episode of the Hip Hop Social Worker Podcast. I am your host, Christopher Scott, and we are at about day 60 plus of our quarantine from the COVID-19. We're just kind of hanging in there. Definitely somebody like myself who has to report to work, and and right now we have a few staff members that are tested positive. So things are tense right now, but ain't really much we can do but to protect ourselves. Take the precautions and things like that. These are scary times. These are uncertain times. A lot of people are out of work. A lot of people are just uncertain about when we're going to go back to normal, if we're going to go back to normal, things like that. Yeah, it's just hard right now. We don't want to get ourselves infected. We don't want to get loved ones infected. So it's just like a lot of things to juggle. But I come today to have a few things to offer. How to really protect ourselves and in our in our mental health and things like that. One thing that I've been doing is really just controlling what I can control. I would like to be working from home and things like that to kind of ensure my safety. But even at that, you still got to go to the grocery store. You still got to go outside for certain things. So you never really know, what I'm saying, where you're gonna run into someone who might be, carrying the COVID-19. So, but like I said before, just really worry about things you can control. I take precautions, washing my hands, wearing my mask, carry hand sanitizer everywhere I go. I come home, take all my stuff that I wore to work off, leave my shoes at the front, for like a few days just to not bring things in the house. But even with all that, it's still stressful. Like we're still stressed out. Still don't want to get my family if infected if I end up having it at work. So but people is causing a lot of controversy. If you feel like you're overreacting, I feel like that's good. I always think that it's better to be over cautious than not cautious at all, and then you mess around and spread this deadly disease to everyone. If you feel like you're doing too much, just relax. You're taking precautions to protect yourself. It's just an uncertain time right now, and I feel like just being cautious is not a bad thing. I will pay attention to the information you're receiving as well. A lot of people are trying to spread certain false narratives and things like that. You can believe what you want to believe, but try to make sure that you read a few articles that might have a good feeling. Like some people like have like you read something like, oh, that seems right. It could seem right, but I would still be cautious of the things that you're putting in the atmosphere, because people are dying out here, and yeah, the numbers they don't seem as bad because we're taking the precautions, but just imagine if we didn't. Like imagine if we just kept living life how we was living. We might see a whole lot of numbers. So take that in consideration too. Yeah, a lot of people say like, oh, like the flu kills more people and things like that. But you got to remember that when we detected things happening, we stopped and then we closed everything down, and we're trying to slowly open things back up, but I feel like I always see, saying when somebody open things back up, there's always a spike in numbers. So really nobody really knows what's going on. Just take care of yourself. Control what you can control. Don't spend a whole lot of time. In the I like to call it the rabbit hole. trying to figure out ways to disprove this narrative, because of course you're going to find some stuff that's going to disprove, it's going to feel like what you've been saying all along is right, but I would still be cautious, because like we got to start paying more attention to science and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like yeah, it's easy to dispel things and I get it, you know what I'm saying? Like it's easy to kind of not believe what people are telling you because there's so much shady stuff in the world, but at the same time just really pay attention to what you're taking in, Don't waste time on social media trying to argue a point because there's people right now who's picking sides, and I would just let those people pick them sides. Just if you don't believe it, cool, stay away. Don't don't come around because you're not taking the precautions to keep me safe. Because it's all like I feel like with conspiracy theories, it's all fun and games until somebody who you love is hurt, and then you wish you would have did more. So just remember that. I always feel like that's a thing. Like because there's a lot of naysayers out there about this, and if somebody they love had it and died, or had it and became like severely crippled because of it, they probably would have wished they did more. So just pay attention to the stuff you're intaking and things like that. But I don't really have a lot to say about COVID-19. It's day 62 of like at least in Oregon of our quarantine, and like just take care of yourself. Don't do too much. If you get stir crazy, it's all right to go for a walk. Put your mask on, or don't wear a mask, but just make sure you stay socially distant. Just yeah, it's just follow your instinct. That's what I would do. But anyway, so this is season 4 of the Hip Hop Social Worker podcast, and I'm back. Trying to really do things different this time. I'm trying to, really add to my video catalog. I'm really trying to, reach more social workers, things like that. Trying to I got goals. Things I'm trying to do, trying to produce more content. Just really trying to make a bigger impact. I got to step my game up, because yeah, it's season 4. I've been doing this for about 2 years now. So the same stuff is not going to satisfy, my hunger for more. Like just sit down and talking with someone is not going to do it. I got to figure out ways to kind of expand and grow and, try to really reach different medias. I had my first media snub. Shout out to this editor from Essence Magazine. She interviewed me for she was trying to do an article. Well, she wasn't trying. She did an article about how to find black therapists in your community. So she called me and we talked a little bit, but then she sent me an email apologizing, saying that she had a certain word count and she couldn't fit any of my quotes in. And I wasn't tripping. I was like, cool. I just really appreciate that, that you reached out to me and that I'm on someone's radar. And I feel like if that happened now, if I just keep doing what I'm doing, then more stuff will come. So I was honored that I had that opportunity. And but I feel like this is like it's like my first media snub, and I feel like there's a lot of people that who work in Hollywood who are just working in like big media platforms, and they have these there's times like, oh yeah man, I went to audition, I got the part, but they didn't use any of my scenes, or I was on an album and I laid my lyrics down and my verse down, and they didn't use my verse. So I feel like I'm getting somewhere. I feel like this is working. I'm still just growing. I'm reaching out social workers every day. It's just nice to kind of put things in the atmosphere and see things return. Just so, like if you're out there and if you're really trying to start something, or you out there trying to build something, just don't stop. Just keep going. Because somebody's looking, somebody's listening, somebody's watching, there's somebody watching, there's somebody listening. So, just don't ever stop, keep building, take what you've done in the past, previous things you've did, see how you can get better, see how you can sharpen, your craft, and just keep producing content. Just keep pumping at it, keep going at it. The thing that that I always tell people is that you got to make sure it's something you want to do. There's a few things that I've done in the past couple of years that didn't work out, and I feel like it's because I didn't really want to do it. I was doing it to do it, just for something to do. But with this is my career. This is like my livelihood. I'm a social worker. I love to talk to more social workers and try to make myself better, and just to really see how people got into this field, because it's an interesting field to be in. So yeah, season 4. And I got a lot of people that I'm trying to bring to the forefront to interview and pick their brain about how they do things in the social work field. How they got to where they're at. I'm in a spot right now in my career where I'm trying to elevate, and I'm trying to get to a certain spot. But I'll tell you more about that after I come back from a break. All right. So I've just been thinking, just kind of this all this time that I've been having because of the, I can't really do anything besides go to work and come home and go to the store, and I'm trying to live what I do in the community. I've just been thinking about lately, just kind of thinking about my career and things that I want to do. I love the job that I do right now. Working with the juveniles that I work with. I feel like, me being a black QMHP, a qualified mental health professional, really helps. The youth that are on the unit that just needed someone to kind of relate to them. I feel like, they're like, I've created a space where they can come and kind of be themselves and vent and not like be super judged, or somebody tell them that their life is what I'm looking for, not unacceptable, but their life is that their life is wrong, or their life is they're not living right, and because nobody wants to hear those things, even though our society might tell our society might say one thing, but I feel like it's really on them to kind of find their own journey, and because I'm from like the neighborhoods that they come from, kinda, I feel like I understand them enough to allow them to come into the space and not judge them, for some of the shocking things that they might say, So, but all that said, I'm getting to a point, where direct service is kind of taxing, especially working in that environment with all the pressure going on. Like, I just was trying to think about, maybe ways that I want to change my career trajectory. When I was in last March, or this March 2020, I presented at a conference, the Millennial Social Work Conference. Shout out to them, shout out to that team. They held it down. Had a great event, great conference. And it was just nice to kind of present and like really just share like my expertise. And really just get just like this really the feedback I got was just great, and I feel like doing more things like that would probably it's probably where I need to try to put my energy towards doing things like that, maybe like more policy work, more project manager work, just really not trying to pigeonhole myself into direct service. I feel like I see a lot of people that kind of do that. They kind of pigeonhole themselves to where they've done it for so long that they can't do anything else, or it would be hard for them to do something else. And I feel like right now is a great time to kind of sit down and kind of think about goals that I have towards my career, and really try to put the energy on to making those things happen. So like, before I got my MSW, I was doing informational interviews. And then when I got my MSW, I did more informational interviews. And I feel like right now, I'm in the place where like it's maybe time to do some more. Like I was kind of content with being a therapist, but just sitting down and thinking about, stuff lately, it's like, okay, maybe it's time to take my expertise somewhere else, or offer my, therapeutic services in a different aspect. Maybe more consulting, policy work. I tried the admin work. Maybe if I had true because like every time I was a part of an admin team, I wasn't like truly an admin. It was always like some kind of like some kind of like a flyby position. Like I was like the bridge between admin and the regular staff, and that kind of always put me in a spot where it's like I don't really like that spot. So but I feel like if we don't do these things, like put these things in the atmosphere, put these things in the just kind of in our the front of our brain, we'll just kind of get stagnant. And I don't want to get stagnant. Like one thing that I've known doing this podcast and kind of running my like my own company, it's just that you put things out there and things will return if you really put the work in to kind of to really, if you put the work in to want these things to manifest. You gotta put the work in, and you gotta kind of have that energy. Put your energy towards something that you want to do. Like you can't just say I want to do this and then kind of sit and wait. You gotta ask questions. I watched an interview with the doctor, the hip hop educator, Dr. Christopher Edmond, and he said that he saw this guy speaking at a conference, and he wanted to know who this guy was because he thought he could wash this guy. He thought he was way better than this guy, but this guy was, he made it to a spot where he wanted to be. So he went and researched everything, this guy was doing, where he went to school at, the articles he wrote, who hired him to come to speak, all this stuff. And he did all these things so he could see how this guy moved so he can move better. And I feel like that's where I'm at right now. Like now I got to kind of, put things in position to where I can get to a certain spot, keep getting my, my licensure work done so I can get my LCSW one day. And really just, just kind of keep putting it out there that, I want something different, something else, something more, kind of be, be more in a role that I can influence, macro change. Like I never was really a fan of macro work because the only time I've done it had left a bad taste in my mouth. But I feel like it's time to kind of see, if I can give it another shot, give it another, give it another go. So anyway, that's a little catching up with me. Like I said, I presented at a conference, and it was great. And I'm looking forward to the opportunity of doing more things like that, share my expertise of being a social worker, share my life story with people who willing to listen, who might need some kind of guidance in this career field. You're never too great to not need some kind of some kind of guidance or some kind of direction. I always feel like that. You can always be better. There's always different moves to take. There's always different roads to drive. There's always different lanes to get in. That's how I feel anyway. I would never be a point, even if I reached all the pinnacle of my goals, I would just get more goals, because life is about really achieving things, that's how you live a fruitful life. You just kind of take it step by step. And the goals don't have to be astronomical. They could be small goals. They can be, you kind of build yourself up. I feel like small goals build your confidence to get to the bigger goal. That's just kind of how I feel anyway. But yeah, this is season 4, Hip Hop Social Worker. Like I said, I got a nice little lineup coming. Just wanted to check in with everybody, see how everybody was doing. We're holding it down as much as I can over here. And stay tuned. I'm trying to do more IG lives, do more video content, do more collabs and everything, and shout out to everyone who's reached out. I appreciate you. Keep reaching out, hiphopsocialworker.com. You can find me on IG, Hip Hop Social Worker, Facebook, Hip Hop Social Worker. Where else am I at? Twitter, HA Social Work. I'm looking forward to collaborate. Looking forward to doing different things in social work. I'm not trying to pigeonhole myself into a mental health counselor forever. I would like to expand and do other things. So let's just send me a text. Don't send me a text. Send me an email. Send me a IG message. All those things. Let's stay connected. All right, y'all. Peace.